Thank you, Cecilia, for being here today, and thank you to everyone here for being here too. So what we're going to do is, I have a few questions here which have been raised from people in the community, and we'll also have a live session where if you spontaneously come up with anything and would like to ask Cecilia, we'll have a section for that as well. So without further ado, I'd like to start. Right, so Cecilia, please, let's start with, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your extensive career, because we know you have, such a wonderful career. We'd like to hear a little bit more about it.
Well, I am not from Buenos Aires. I'm from the south of Argentina, and there I started when I was little doing some ballet, because that was what we could do, or they call it Spanish, to some flamenco or something close to that, and ballet were the options. So when my mother asked me what would you like to do, I thought it was like one or the other. So I choose ballet. But actually I could have choose both, but I didn't know. And so I started doing that, and I did it until I was 18, that I finished school, so I moved to Buenos Aires. And in that time, because ballet was the only thing I thought that was possible to dance, I felt I was old for doing that as a career. I thought that, because 18 years old for a ballet dancer is too old. Or you start earlier to do a real career or not. But I didn't know there was other kind of dances. So then I didn't choose to continue dancing in that time. I thought I better be a musician. Because there's no time for that, no? That's the way I was thinking in that moment. But then I realized that actually to be a musician, I was not ready. I was not, talented for that. It was very difficult. I was studying piano before, and violin a little bit, but was not like a real musician that, they are involved there. And in Buenos Aires, I realized there was contemporary dance, modern dance, yoga, all sorts of things, and I entered in everything. Like I just wanted to do everything to see. And so I was trying to do a career with the music, but actually I was involved in all sorts of dance. And one of them was tango, because I said, well, I'm here in Buenos Aires, I better learn tango too, because it could be useful, And so that's the way I started, just curiosity about dance. But then when I got there, when I went for the first time, Lorena was my first teacher, Lorena Hermosida. It was in a school that was from Gloria and Eduardo, and they had teachers every day, different teachers, and they would offer 3 hours of class with their system, so the teachers had to teach in the way they wanted in that moment, for not so much money. So actually, I said, okay, that's good. I can go 3 times a week. So I had 3 different couples teaching me, and spend there 3 hours. No? So I loved that. Sebastián Arce was there learning. He was a child. And his father would be there in the table watching him and taking care of him. So when I entered there, I felt it was completely another thing. It was not a dance as I would go for the rest. It was like a time tunnel, I would enter and was another time. It was something that was not contemporary to what was my life outside that place. That place was like going back in time. Everything that for me was not happening was happening there, A way of relationship, a way of dressing, a way, the music, everything. So I like to go there, like if I would enter into a film, something different. And that was a special place for me. and none of my friends would like to accompany me there because they were like in another world. So I grew up there in that place. Then I think that, well, I realized that I was not going to be a musician. I kept learning piano and music, but not really to do it. And dance was, I got more involved in dance and dancing. When I finished the dance school, I got into tango more because before I didn't have the time to spend all nights there. and got more involved in tango, and I think that because work appeared in tango more than in the rest of the things, I went in that direction. Like I never choose to be a tango dancer. I wanted to be a dancer, and I became a tango dancer because I worked on it. And the work led me to it.
And various opportunities came up for you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So just along that note, if you were to pick a turning point in your career, what would that turning point be in tango? When once you started working in tango, what was a corner, that turning point that really defined your career?
I'm not sure about having a moment like that. I know that I felt very interested in teaching. Like I like to perform too, but the possibilities of performing in that time was the houses, like the tango restaurants. And I tried that. It was a beautiful experience in a way, because it was the first time I worked there was with Roberto and Vanina. They were their show, and I was with Roberto's brother, with Tani. And I was very new, so they showed me a lot of things all together, and Vanina was like really guiding me, you have to do this, this. But I realized that I didn't want to do that every night, because it was from Monday to Monday. There was no, I didn't want to do that every night. And so that experience, that was maybe 6 months, it was enough for me. And then I realized I wanted to do other stuff. I got the opportunity of traveling and teaching, and I really got interested in teaching, so that led me into leading. Because I started leading maybe because I needed to teach. You know? And that defined me in a way, because in my time there was very few women that would learn how to lead, really very few. Maybe I think that for me was important to see some people from abroad, women from abroad, coming to lead, and I was like, oh, you know, they know that and I don't know that, in a way. But because I wanted to teach, for me it was important to know it. And that's like the why I started, but actually I continue because I like it. I really was very interested and liking it. So yes, that made me independent.
Yes, yes, absolutely. What about the previous generation of the great milongueros that we know? You've actually danced with them, worked with them. What stories can you tell us about?
I don't think I worked with any of them. I danced with them in the milongas. It's true, some of them they were known, some of them they were not known like publicly, but yes, in the milonga. And they were very gentle with us, with women. They were very gentle, respectful and gentle. But with the guys, they were a disaster. They were mean. Because I don't know if it was they didn't like the competition, they didn't want them to ruin what they already had there, like their sanctuary, the dance floor. So if you wouldn't know how to dance very well, they didn't want you there. And so that's why the guys would take a long time to get into the dance floor if they were learning. For us it was different because they would lead in us, and so we could get in the dance floor with them. But they would see someone new that maybe was not so new, but he wanted to get in, and they would go and bump him with the elbows on purpose, and then say, "What are you doing? Like you're moving back or whatever." But because you were dancing with him, that he went to do that to take them out. So it was not very welcoming. Yes.
Do you think the younger generation of leaders had to work harder because of that to dance in the milonga, whereas nowadays people tend to be more welcoming and it's easier for new leaders?
Still, if they would be their students, that was different. If they would behave as they want, that they would have a place. But for just regular people, no. So then the thing was that in the 95, they opened La Viruta, the first one. It was a small club, and they decided to do that for all the people, the young people that was coming into tango and didn't have a place where they could practice. And so they said, okay, here you can do anything you want. This is yours. And if they don't like it, they can leave. They can go to all the other milongas they are. But this place is for you to practice, to learn, to have mistakes, to do whatever you want, and you defend it. That was the message they passed to the people. And so the Viruta was a disaster in that time. It was impossible. The dance floor was a disaster, but it was a lot of fun. So the older people would come anyway to see the girls, to see, and they would complain. You cannot dance there, look at this, look at that.
But they'd still go.
Yes, it's okay, leave. So I think that after that was really changing the mentality. It opens a little bit for all these people that were coming and didn't have a place. So then they could practice and then start going to the other places. There was La Viruta and there was also Paracultural that was very underground. So it was always a bad floor, always rats and things, but we like it. We like it. Yeah.
Oh, it's really fascinating to hear all this, isn't it? It's really great. So getting back to, for example, talking on the subject of these milongueros and the older generation, who did you admire the most? Or who did you learn from the most, would you say? And that has really stuck with you and defined who you are today?
About the older ones, I think there was something about what they would give you, not as teachers. Was more in the dance floor, and then in the stories they would tell you in between the songs. They would tell you stories that you wouldn't know if they are true or not, but it didn't matter, because probably they have already their speeches to tell us. But there was like they would dance a valse, and then they would say, "Oh, I love valse," and then you said, "Yes, I love valse," and like the conversations were always the same. But then, for example, one told me, "Yes, but because it reminds me the horses of the carousel." And I was like, "Oh, yes. No, but you are too young. You don't know the horses of the carousel." I was like, "No, I know the horses in the carousel, the ones that go up and down." It's like, not those ones, the ones that were around to make the carousel turn. That they were blind, so they would walk. And I was like, "Oh, like you know, like, oh." So he was like doing that with the valse. So for him, the valse was this sad image of this horse going around and around. And for me, those experiences, those images from a past that I didn't live, were the inheritance. What we call the culture in tango, and they were giving it to me as memories. Or someone that would say, well, this hardly reminds me when I was sleeping, when I was a kid in the milonga, because my parents were dancing and the orchestra was there. And so, yes, I didn't live it, but they would give it to you as a gift, all these images and experiences they lived. So I think that is what they gave me in a way of sharing their experiences.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? And this is something that I'd really hope that we could learn from you. You know, hearing the stories and get that essence of you know, the respect of the culture and the heritage of tango, which is so rich. Do you feel that nowadays tango is a little bit diluted in the sense? Now it's traveled, it's known worldwide, but do you feel that the essence is being lost a little bit or diluted?
No, I think that's a fear that many people have, but it's more a point of view that is more conservative. And I think that we don't need to really save the tango, or that tango survives itself by the curiosity and the interest of every person who dances, and it will evolve itself in the way it should be. Like, I don't think we have to be romantic about the past. I love to be part of that past and this present, and I would love to be part of the future. Like, to think that what was before was best, I'm not so sure. I understand that feeling because we were younger before. So for me it was better. But maybe for the people who is young now, this is their moment. And in the future they will feel bad about this moment that they lost. You know? So I don't care so much about that. I think that we have to make a good present.
Fantastic.
That's the only thing we can do.
No, I agree with you completely. From your point of view, what are the strengths and the weaknesses of the present generation, do you think?
I can see that, for example, in my generation, we focus a lot in improvisation. We wanted to have the improvisation working natural and fluent and make everything happen with the lead and the following very synchronized and organic. So there was a lot of study of the structure and how to do things so they were comfortable. But then I think that the generation later, they did with that art. They put it in the stage in an incredible way. Because before, the stage dancer was more rough, in a way. Didn't have the technique that then evolved, and now they have the technique, and they put on top of that all other arts and theater and things that you can see that is part of the evolution of these times. So I think that's very beautiful how they do. But the weaknesses, I don't know. I think that maybe one of the things that I think should be better is the dance floor. Like, I see that everyone is staying in one place, and not only outside, in Buenos Aires also. We were seeing with some friends the dance floor, and we were like panicking, like, look at this, it's not moving, but not moving. And I think this is like having the iPhones, and you see it in the milongas, everyone with the cell, and it's like, what is this? Like, we are losing a little bit the communication with the rest of the people.
Yes.
That the idea of that we are all together creating this thing in the dance floor, I think they are lost. Is everyone each in their own bubble, no? And well, maybe we can do something about it, but I don't know, because it's cultural. It's a problem.
Yes, no, definitely. That's something that would be very interesting to address, I think.
Yeah.
Another question, what do you think of Nuevo Tango? Do you feel that nowadays, especially in the world, it's been misinterpreted or starting to take on its own life of its own?
I think that Nuevo Tango is old. That's what I think. Was nuevo in a time,
but now
it's really old. It's like it got really old. Yeah. So I think evolved a lot, and what was called nuevo was a new way of understanding. And because of that new way of understanding, evolved in a certain way. But actually, that's old now. I think that's the way people understand tango now, and they don't realize that before was different. So then
it was new then.
It was new then, and when they tell me about Nuevo, I always think it's like the Discovery Channel, you know, like if you discover America or something. Well, America was there, it's just that you got there, you know, but tango was there, and when you get there, everything is new. So you say, I'm new. You are new, but, you know, tango is old. And so, yes, what they want to express, I understand what they want to express when they say nuevo, but it's too old at the moment. Yeah.
What is tango for you?
Well, because I'm a dancer, I see it as a dance, but it's much more than that. You know, it's the music and it's the culture and it's many things that we cannot explain. So we cannot dismember that and think about one piece or the other. I was lucky to work with something that for me is part of myself now. And I'm glad I did that way. But yes, I cannot see as one thing. Tango is very complex.
Yes, definitely. Tango brings up things that we didn't even know about ourselves sometimes. Was there something in tango that happened to you or you found out through tango that you had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
I think that we relate to tango in relation to who we are. It's not tango doing this to us. We are there, and so we express what we are through tango. It's like a language. You don't. It's not the language defining yourself so much. It's you who say what you want to say in that language. And because for me always was important to feel independent, maybe because of my fears of depending or things like that, I always work with the tango this relation, no? Because dancing, you depend on someone. You are doing something with someone else, no? But at the same time, I wanted to find my own independence inside that. It's hard to describe, but for me, the best analogy is the surfers. It's like when you are surfing, I don't surf.
I don't either.
You need a wave, and you actively surf with this wave. So not anyone can surf this wave. The guy has to know how to do it and do it, themselves. But they need this wave. And I like to feel that, like I need this other person, but as a wave, as something that motivates me, that is part of the movement, but the dance, I am actively dancing there. No? And these are things that through tango I always look for. So I think it's more because it's what I like, more than...
Yeah. That's, so what, for you, what would be the most important aspect of tango that you would like to see respected in the local communities around the world? Because it is so personal.
Yeah, I don't know if I would think about respecting tango. I would think about respecting the people, what the other person wants, you know, because sometimes I see that we get too self-centered in what we want. So if I want to dance and he doesn't ask me, or if I want you to do this and you don't do it, you know, like, so maybe the leaders telling you how you have to do things to please them, or you telling them how you like to be, you know, all these things I think is a lack of respect. That if you truly want to go and meet someone and know this person and know something about that person, you have to meet there, and the challenge is to do something together with whatever is there. Then, if you want something different, go to a teacher and find answers in another place, but not in the dance floor. And so sometimes I see all these things, also the complaints, all these things. I think it's like, well, we should respect a little bit more what the other wants too. Like, because if not, you create an atmosphere where everyone has to do things, and it's hypocrite. It's not true. It's not honest. So they ask you to dance, but they don't really want to dance. It's just because then you are going to see as a bad person, you know, like this. So I think we should be more honest and accept that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what terms that you're dancing on. How do you see tango evolving in the future?
I don't know.
Your crystal ball.
I don't know. Maybe there's always things that change what is going on, like the championship changed what was going before, or some other things change. And I think that that's part of the process. One thing is how I see it, I don't know, because it depends. But what I wish is that everyone really feel free to explore what they like, and not really so much into being accepted because of how they do it. You know, and the championship create that you dance to be accepted by certain people, and I think that some people need this. I understand that some people need as a challenge to compete, but I don't think it should be what leads the whole tango community. It should be just for the people who likes that, but not everyone trying to be accepted. No, like we should also try to find other solutions, other ways.
Can you give us some examples of other solutions that could perhaps
maybe
be offered?
Maybe when you don't care so much about being accepted by these people that are there judging or deciding what is good, what is bad, you will relate with the dance in relation to what you like. So there's a lot of people who go dancing just because they like it, and not because they want to be the best. And that's what I think creates the community. People who go there to dance, simply. Not to be the best, not to be, just to have a good moment, to share with someone, to go out of the house. And I think that should be the main reason. Then, if some other people want something else, you can do it, but not like everyone trying to get in that place, in that point. And if you are not seeking for that, it's not good.
Yeah. So, going back to Milongas, I have a question. As a renowned teacher and dancer, can you still enjoy a good tanda with the right partner, of course, knowing that all the eyes are watching you on the dance floor?
Yes, I can. I never care about the eyes watching. No, I don't think all the eyes are watching anyway. But I had a teacher that once was saying, we always think they are watching us. And actually no one cares, no one is watching. And when you are in a milonga, you realize you are talking, we are doing something, and you're not watching one person like that. Sometimes you just, it's there in the background, unless you are interested in someone, and then you look, but it's not happening all the time, not everyone. So we have to know that we are part of something, we are not the main thing.
The center attraction.
No.
You could be.
No. Depends where I
am. Okay, so this one is a little bit long. Tango started off as a dance between men because of the lack of women at the beginning. So men was dancing lead and follow. It then developed into men leading and women following. This is fine in the 30s and decades after. However, society has developed to a society where women have greater participation in the society, and society will develop further to true equal rights and chances for the females. Tango, with its rigid gender roles, has fallen out of times a bit. Do you think that tango will adapt, and how will it adapt in the future?
I think that we are adapting. We are adapting because there's no way not to do it. Some people don't like it, some people like it. For some people it's never enough. But I think that it's not tango rigid. We are rigid. We have to understand that tango is like something that you cannot, it's like God, like everyone talk about it, and God didn't say anything. They said, and tango is more or less the same. It's like tango is this and that. No, we are this and that. And before they were dressing in another way, they were behaving in another way, and tango was built in this way because it was part of the time. And we can travel through time, as I was saying at the beginning, and see how was everything, and we can change what we don't like. And actually I think we are doing it. We always are doing it, even if we don't like it. The fact that I started leading was a change, but I didn't do it as a revolutionary. I did it because I was interested in knowing. So I think that we open ways and not always fighting against something. This gender thing that we have in the roles are talking about men and women because that was the way that they were dancing before, but not because one was more powerful than the other, like leader and follower. That actually make it worse, because a leader seems to be higher position than a follower. But men and women don't necessarily need to mean that. And then you can say, okay, and now we can do dance together, to women, to men, and also not define men and women because there's people that is defined in other ways. And we can open maybe the idea to not name it, but the roles will remain one starting the movement and the other one receiving it and doing something with it. And so these roles, you can name them as you want, but they are different. One has one responsibility and the other another responsibility, and we kind of blend and do something together, like a couple.
Like yin and yang, maybe?
Like yin and yang, and like a couple. So when we are a couple, and it doesn't really matter the role you take there, you evolve, you go over it. You can go over it. Like I do both roles, and I'm not another person when I am in one or the other. I am the same person, but I feel different things because I am moving in a different way in one role or the other. And I think it's important that we evolve mentally into it so we don't get trapped against one mentality. If we go against that mentality, then we are reactionary. I think we should evolve and get over it, you know, do more and open-minded to welcome all the different ideas.
No, that's excellent, which leads me to my next question is, we can make ourselves, like you said, to trap ourselves into one mindset, or to, when we're trying to evolve in tango or advance in tango, what do you think are the common trap falls that we might fall into?
Well, maybe it's this thing about the roles, because when we get trapped in the role, like it seems like if in the woman role, the follower role, we kind of want to do the right thing. Like if someone tells us to do something and we want to do it right. And if we always want to do it right, there will never be enough. They will ask for us something different and better. And the leader also, the man can decide that he likes it like this, and then he wants something else and more. And so if we don't realize that we get together to dance together and not to lead and follow, or to stay in these roles, no? We cannot get over and evolve and have this pleasure of dancing together. We don't arrive to the place where we dance. We are always in a role. So men overlead, and women are too obedient, and it's not fun anymore. So I think that there's something about the roles that are in relation to understand each other, to understand the rules of the game, but we don't have to lose the game because of that. Because then we are correct, we do everything right, and we never have fun. We don't enjoy it. We can enjoy the mistakes, we can enjoy many things. So, yes, sometimes we get trapped in that idea.
How do you resolve disagreements with your tango partner?
What is that? No, disagreements. What is disagreements? No, I don't have disagreements.
You never have disagreements?
No, I don't know.
Well, how would you advise people who have disagreements with their partner?
I think we should listen to each other more and try to negotiate. I don't think we have, if we like dancing, we don't have so different ideas. Are different point of view, but we can always agree in something. It's more like letting a little bit each win, and then we are both happy, you know, and not only one and the other lose, you know, one win and the other lose. It's like, okay, we can try both ideas and do it. That is how I think we should negotiate the disagreements.
The next question is, who are your top 3 leaders in tango and why? What are their best qualities?
Oh, I can talk about the qualities, but not names.
Off camera, maybe.
No names, because I change all the time.
Yes.
No, because it's difficult, because I can have the people I like to dance with, but there are also leaders I don't dance with, but I also admire a lot and like a lot, and so actually there's a lot of them that are incredible. Some of them are women too, that are amazing nowadays. But I think that the quality of a good leader is to know about our role. Not to know how to do it, but to know about it. Because as you are leading, you have to have the whole idea of what is going on. So then, if you understand what the other person needs, you can provide that and make the other person dance better, and that comes back to you. So the ones who listen more and are more with you, accompany you better, are the best ones. They avoid problems, and they help you, and are very pleasant, to dance with. I think so.
Well, I think we should also ask about the qualities in a follower as well. So what would be the top qualities that you admire in a follower?
Well, of course the listening is one of them, because we need to understand to listen. But also I think I like to see different personalities in the followers, how all these ideas that they are given to us, we can represent them and dance them in a very different way, and showing your own personality and your choices, no? Because then you choose, you do this step, but you do it in this way or in this, and all those are because they are your choices. And I think that the follower can show us more about that in the dance, because you are not deciding what to do, but you are deciding how you make
and how to express your personality. And what would be the best way to practice as a single dancer, or if you don't have a dance partner, for example, or any solo practice tips that you can give us?
I am not the person who would practice by herself a lot, because I actually like the idea of doing it with someone. So I think that anything that you like to do for yourself, for your body, is welcome, no? But this is very personal. Some people like some hard work, some others like something soft. It depends on yourself, your possibilities. I think that this can be different. But in tango, if you practice alone, it's a limit what you can do, because actually you need the other one to make this work really. Maybe in our times we would get together with other people to practice. We would rent a room, and 3-4 couples practice what we were doing in the classes, because the classes were like really fast. We couldn't catch up, but was that discussion and trying with one with the other. I think is more interesting than practicing by yourself. Maybe you have some friends. It doesn't have to be a partner. Like I never had a partner, but yes, you can get together with some people that wants to practice and do it.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to pass a few questions to the floor now. So if anyone has any questions that they've just thought of, or any burning questions that they've determined to really ask today, raise your hand. Yes. And
All right. First of all, thank you. I think you've just become the Dalai Lama of tango. Which I've always
It's
suspected.
because of this part.
Because of
No, it's actually philosophical answers. This sort of relates a little bit to the little exchange we had on Wednesday night here about the tradition in about Milonga, the tradition of waiting to be invited to dance by a follower, and I think we sort of had a joke about, no, let's change things and let's have women ask men, and I understand that the reason for that, because it's a lot harder to lead, and so it's a part of the respect. But do you think that's going to change more?
I think already changed. Of course, maybe because I was from that time that, you know, always women would be asked. I like it. I kind of like to be asked.
Yeah.
But nowadays that is more open. Sometimes, you know, I said like, well, how many years I will wait? Because, you know, I come here once a year. Like if they don't ask me this year, they will be maybe next year if they are here. Or so sometimes I say, I will ask. But I ask also knowing that maybe they want to dance with me, but they wouldn't dare to ask me. So then I make it easier. But I think that there's way of asking, and this is for men and for women, it doesn't matter. What we don't like is that they come and ask us without giving us a possibility of no. When they ask you, you can say no, and the other person shouldn't feel bad about it. Because if not, it's not a question, no? They don't ask, they demand. And for us should be the same, I think. If we will start doing that, we have to be very sensitive, I don't know if it is the word, but do it in a way that the other person don't feel pressure. Because we can generate more pressure. For them could be harder to say no to us. They feel like, oh, he's saying no to me, you know, like a woman. They say like, hey, come on. If you're going to change the rules, you have to also get the no and be nice about it. So maybe, you know, we can suggest, oh, I would like to dance this song, or something that is not so much into pushing the thing, you know, because we don't like that. And of course they won't like that either, you know? So we have to learn how to do it too, in a way that we don't put that pressure on the other person.
Anyone else? James?
I'm interested, you said you were training to be a musician
Yes.
early on in your dance career. Has music training as a musician, or the actual listening to tango music versus the actual physical training of tango, how has that travelled through your dance career, and how does it evolve now?
Yes, it's true that I guess affect me, of course, because when you are involved in music, you hear different, no? Like you understand a little bit different what is happening, and you are more interested in the different instruments, in how the music is built, how they compose, if they are all together, if they are different layers. All these things maybe you hear in a different way. But in my case also, I think that was very influential, my piano teacher, one of them that I had at the end, that she was more interested in the way I was learning and not so much into how I was playing. And like she would make me play one hand and sing the other, and then play the other and sing this one, or in the chord sing one line and not the, like she wanted me to understand the music and not really so interested in me playing it. And I think that made me also feel like I wanted to teach in a different way. Like I wanted to find where were all these dark points in people, where you don't see something or you assume something, and doesn't make you dance better, you know. So I think that in the way she taught me, influenced my teaching. Yeah.
What are your favourite orchestras, and why do you like different ones?
Oh, my favorite is my boyfriend, of course.
Oh. Tango orchestra.
Yeah, that's right. No, I think that that changes with the time, but of course, I never get tired of listening to Sarli. I think I started with that, and I can do it all my life. But Pugliese is something that also make it very interesting, because he plays with everything that is contemporary and more modern, and at the same time is very is very traditional at the same time. So it's always interesting to listen, no? And to dance is kind of difficult also, but challenging, no? Like Di Sarli is more like a friend, but Pugliese you need to get more involved. But of course, Piazzolla is maybe the person who went out of cages, no, and changed everything, and nothing is the same before and after Piazzolla, and Pugliese is part of that. Pugliese, of course, we cannot think without Piazzolla and all the influences that he generates in people like Pugliese and like all the others that came with them. You can see in Pugliese a lot of songs that are from Piazzolla that are very interesting how he plays them, and also in Piazzolla songs from Pugliese. And all these things are very, very interesting to see how they.
I think they did a concert together too, didn't
They did, yeah, they did one. Yes. Yeah.
And how important do you think tango movement and tango music is tied together?
This would be more like in relation to how we feel, every person, no? Like, because there's something about our own possibilities that we cannot sometimes express what we want because we are limited, and also we listen different. Like said, people who listens more the rhythm, others more the melody, other, you know. And so we are going to express different things in the music. But I think that should be something more like an experience, something to live, and not to theorize a lot. You know, like, because then each time you dance one song, the same song, you are different. And you feel it different, and you have sometimes a different partner, but most of it, you listen in a different way, the song, the same song.
For myself and sometimes in others, the question, what is tango and why do I like it? Why do I love it so much? It feels like it's really hard to find the words. Why do you think that is?
Well, what is it? Don't worry about it. It's in constant evolution. It won't feel trapped in one definition. But I think that we like it because, first of all, it's a dance that you will not find an end. When you learn something, there's more and there's more and there's more. So it always offers more to go deeper into it. So you never get bored if you are curious. And then also that you are with someone else dancing, creates it interesting too, because this person is another person, and you also have to get to know how to deal with these situations, how to know this person so you can do something together, and that it also make like an addiction, because once you do something with someone, you don't want to go alone, like to dancing alone. You want to dance with someone because it's more interesting. It's not all about you, and you know. So we have that, and then we have the social part. That's tricky, because in the social part you can feel that maybe you are becoming a family, and families are a problem. Okay, it's not what they tell us, like, you're the family, you know. So we have to know how to be in that place. I've seen some tango communities that they became so much family that they explode and they separate, all of them. And I think that it's good to have a good relationship with everyone and to understand and welcome everyone, but don't get confused that not everyone is your friend, you know. Sometimes there's other things going on. There's all the emotions we can get, and the envy, and many things. No? But I don't know if I answered your question, because that's your question. That's you that have to answer.
Maybe a difficult, maybe even impossible question. As a teacher, so you've said in tango that there's a variety of people who dance for different reasons. Some people just want to go to the Malanga and dance for fun on one end, and there are professional dancers training 7 days a week hoping to win the Mundial. I think there is a large group of people like me who have jobs, interests outside of tango, maybe get to dance 2 or 3 times a week, but really want to be the best dancer. But they can be not just casual, but actually improve. And I'm sure you've taught many people like that. Is there any advice for people like that, or things people in this middle group you wish would learn that is maybe hard to teach?
I think we should look to be better dancers, but not to be the best dancer, because that, you know, is going to be frustrating. I think that if we want to be better dancers, we can always evolve a little bit and get better. And also, just by the practice and the experience, you get better because you understand things. And I think one thing that is important, at least for me, because I teach and I get to dance with all kind of people, is that I learn a lot, not only from good dancers. And sometimes in some places are known by being a little bit snob about that. I hear this. Like, I go to Sydney, they say, oh, in Melbourne they are snob. I come here, oh, in Sydney they are snob. It's like, okay. Maybe everyone is a little bit, you know? Yeah. But, yes, we feel more comfortable dancing with a better dancer, but I think we should also take the challenge of dancing with someone that we don't feel so comfortable, but we can understand something of what is that we can do or not do in order to have a better dance. Like, if the other person is good, of course, things happen much easier, but doesn't mean that you are going to become better. You become more dependent of a good dancer, yes? But when you dance with people that is not as good, sometimes you come up with solutions that makes you a better dancer. And then when you come back to a better dancer, you have these things, these tools. So I think that we have to be a little bit, not only dancing with the others as generosity, but to understand that that is part of our learning process. That.
you travel around everywhere and you see many different communities, and we've had a talk about this, explain it, but what tango means to people in Buenos Aires, like porteños, not, professional dancers, and how is it different than, say, in Europe, where very serious, they go there and they don't stop dancing all night, sweating in their shirts, while in Buenos Aires you see people just go there, maybe not even dance.
Yes.
Yeah? They just go there with their friends to listen to music.
Yes, it's true. It's true. It's true that in Buenos Aires they are not crazy about it. They are crazy about other things. But I think that one of the things that make a big difference is that you have the possibility of dancing 20 hours a day. Like it's never ending. There's never someone like her saying, okay, that's the end. I'm going home.
Party poop.
No. So they know this. And if they want to stay there and don't dance, they know that maybe in an hour they will go dancing. It doesn't matter. So the time is different. You don't feel the pressure. That if you're not having a dancing now, then it's ending and I didn't have the dance. There, you can go and sit and talk and maybe dance, maybe not, because then you can go to another milonga and dance later. Or not, but it's there all the time. So then they don't feel the pressure. They don't need the marathon to dance the whole night. They are a marathon. And so they know they need also time to rest and to eat and to talk and, And if they don't feel like it, they don't do it. And I think they live it in another way, a little bit more relaxed in this sense, and also more relaxed in relation of being good. Because they don't really need to be so good. They don't feel that pressure. Like outside, you realize that everyone wants to be good because good is appreciated. And there are the good ones. Everyone accepts that, the good ones. But there's the regulars that are also very nice to dance with. So they also dance and have fun and they enjoy it and they don't need to be better. They are fine with that. So everyone decides until when they learn. Like some with a little bit is enough. They go, they have some good dances, they go home. And some others want more, and they stop later. Or some others, they want more, they never stop, But there's no pressure from the outside about that. It's inside. You want more, you go for more. Don't want more, that's enough. But I think that this is, that makes a big difference. There's no so much, that snob thing that you feel in the marathons, for example, that if you are not invited, you cannot go. If you are not good enough, you cannot go. And so then it becomes about being good. So you can only have good dances with good people, And maybe there is more about being friendly. Because you will have a dance with a friend and maybe it's not so good, you don't care. It's fine.
Yeah. I had a friend in Europe and he wanted to go to a marathon. So they had to be friends on Facebook first.
Yes.
And then they looked at his Facebook to see the pictures, whether he dances a lot, who he's danced with, all that before he got an invite.
And some of them, they told me that they have to be suggested by 5 different people to be in. They start getting tough,
Wow.
Yeah. They lose the quality of what is popular in the dance. Because for us, it's a popular dance. We want it to be popular. And now you can see how in other states it's also growing and is very good. And there's also these great dancers from all over the country that before was not so much like that. And we like this idea of being popular. Like, for example, well, Jose can tell you, like, I think he was in some of the ETI, it's called, like, encounter of tango people from the interior, like the inside of the country. And they sometimes gather 400 people from all over the country. They go to one city, then they go to another, and they make it in a way that is cheap, or maybe if you want to stay in a hotel that is more expensive, you can do it, and the other can go camping, and the other, So everyone can go and share that experience and know themselves, because everything was so centered in Buenos Aires that they did all this to be able to do something stronger inside the country. That it's interesting, all these movements. Yeah.
One more question. So people outside of, Argentina, outside of South America, what's the best thing teachers can do
The best what?
What's the best thing teachers can do in the rest of the world outside of South America? What's something important that they should really focus on? Besides technique, not
I think you're doing great. Organize workshop for me. No, I don't know. I think yes, we usually teach what is important for us, the solutions we have found, or so. I think we should respect these things. You will find a way, everyone will find a way, and we are all different, and the students are going to choose. So at the beginning we arrive one place, with luck is good, no luck is bad, but then after a while you choose. You choose to stay, or you choose to move on to someone else, and you have your path. So it doesn't really matter. You have to be true to yourself, to what you want, what you believe, and then you will have your own students and your own public, and that happens naturally. I think we don't have to force it. It happens. Yeah.
Do you think to be a good follower, you should know how to lead?
No, I don't think so. No. You have to know how to lead if you are interested only. But it won't make you a better follower. It will make you understand tango better, like how it works. Because if not, it's like if you only have one side. And so when you start understanding how the other side works, you start understanding how the dance works. But doesn't mean that you're going to be better because of that, or you're not going to be good enough because you don't know that. It's the same like for the leaders, if they don't know what we do, they are not good leaders. But they don't need to do it themselves to know. They need to know. But it doesn't mean that they have to put themselves there and do it well. There are a lot of leaders that are very good followers, and that's wonderful. But doesn't mean that you have to do it to be a good leader. And the same, I think, is for the follower. It's only if you are interested, if you feel like, but not.
The other thing is about the followers, like leading. You're saying, how does that happen? Like you were saying about the equality, and followers can be leaders as well.
I know, but you mean from the follower side?
From being like the equality in the dance, instead of the woman just being a follower.
You mean that to express yourself as a dancer? Not like I don't think about back leading. I'm not thinking about that. Like if I'm following, I'm not leading.
You're just following.
I'm following. But in that way of following, I can express myself by doing this thing in my way. in the way I choose to do it, and not just like obediently. So if I have to turn, I don't have to just make the steps of the turn. I can make them with certain quality that express myself. Understand? But I will make the steps anyway. It's just that we kind of decide how we do it. Yeah. It's more subtle. Our role is more subtle.
But then you can influence the leader.
Yes.
Like that, 'cause
Also.
if I dance with someone like these guys,
Yeah.
I'll have an idea and I'll lead it, and then they'll do what Cecilia described, and all of a sudden I'll change my mind, and then I'll open up a different way of thinking
She's doing
because
something.
she's influenced.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is what I think about opening doors. It's like we are all limiting the other person. Yes, I am his limit and he is my limit too. But at the same time, I can be someone that opens doors or close them, and this in both roles. So I think that I can make things possible so he can find the possibilities. And then maybe he was seeing this possibility, and because I showed him there was another one open, he take it. But it's not that I'm making him do it. I'm just offering possibilities. And that's interesting because, well, it's very difficult to explain in words, but when you are dancing, it's more like if you are not, you are more open-minded, so they can choose ideas. If you go for one thing, they will go into that too. Understand?
Is there a way of managing or balancing or just living with having tango and having work and family and relationships? Also given that you travel with tango as a living.
I think there are ways, yes. You can see them. There's many dancers that found a way of having a family and continue working and traveling. Like maybe it's easier for the ones who are couples and they have families because they travel all together. But I've seen also some other friends who had their families and they don't travel with their husband, but they do travel with a partner and they still can work. Maybe they stay a little bit longer in their own cities. But there are ways. There are always ways. It's just that we have to find what we need and make our life in relation to that. Like I need some time to rest. I take my time for resting. I try to respect these timings. Because if not, I get so tired that then I'm not good anymore. You know, like I cannot continue. So I know myself, I know what I need, and I try to provide that for myself. There are some guys I know that they can work double than me. They have other kind of energy. So they can do it. I can't. And if we know that, we can arrange things in that way. Yeah.
One last one. This is something I've discussed with many people, how you explain what it is about tango that makes you go out dancing in the middle of the night. I can fall asleep after dinner, but my partner doesn't dance, or tango, and I think Tony, your boyfriend, doesn't know that. How do you explain to people that don't dance tango what it is that gives you energy to go when normally you have not energy for other things? It's tricky.
Well, I don't have to explain it because.
It's your career, but for me, I've got a day job. I just do it because I want to.
Yes, it's difficult to explain.
I think so.
Yes, I wouldn't explain it. I don't know if I would explain it. Yes, I think that what is necessary is that the other people understand that we need it, that is good for us,
Yeah.
that we feel better and we feel ourselves, that there's something about it that is who we are. So then they accept it because it's the person they like, and you come with all that. And if you wouldn't have it, you wouldn't be the same, and they wouldn't like it. You know, you would be mean and horrible. Tell them.
Any last questions before we finish the session? No? All good. So we'll finish the session here, but I just feel it's just been such an amazing experience. Thank you all for being here tonight. Very happy that we were able to share this with you. And most of all, thank you so much, Cecilia, for
Thank
giving us
you.
this opportunity.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. It was very nice. Yeah.
Thank you.